Hello. In today's lecture, we're going to be looking at Chapter 2 out of Microsoft. And in this chapter, we're going to be working in Microsoft Word. And we're going to be creating a research paper with references and sources. So if you want to turn in your book to page WD 59, this is a picture of what our finished product is going to look like. So as you can tell, we're going to be creating an MLA style research paper with references. The style is going to be MLA. There's another style called APA. However, most English classes are going to use the MLA, so that's what we're going to learn how to do. MLA style requires that you use 12-point Times New Roman font. It will all be double spaced. We will have 1-inch margins. We will indent. For the paragraphs, we're going to set up a header. We're also going to use the head. We're going to use a heading. The header will contain page numbers. We're going to have some citations, which will include the in-text citations, footnote, and we're going to do a works cited page. I'm also going to show you some editing tips. For example, some word count and some other editing tips that you might find helpful. So if you are working in Google Classroom, you're going to have all the files linked below. If we're on Blackboard, we're just going to switch over here. Here's your assignment. I'm going to recommend that you download the MLA checklist. This is a checklist that I have created that shows some tips for when you are doing MLA style. I'll just open this up real quick. And this is going to be great not only for this class, but also as you go on in your education typing any MLA file. Some teachers require things a little bit different, but this is going to be most of it. It's going to tell you your margins, your font. So you guys can go through, double check, make sure that you have everything correct that you need. So I recommend that you download that and save it. Going back here, you've already downloaded the video tutorial, and then here is the book for Chapter 2. So you're going to want to have that open as you go also. So you're going to watch the video, have the book open, and you're going to be doing your work inside of Microsoft Word. After we get done with the sample problem, you have, it's right here. You will also do in the lab 1, which is on pages 116 through 118. There's a few little tips for you there. And then in the lab 2, on pages 118 through 120, and there's some advice for you there. Make sure if you're using Blackboard, you do not submit until you have uploaded all 3 files. There is a scoring guide available. I recommend that you download the scoring guide and double check your work before submitting anything to me. That way you know you're getting the best possible grade. I have also tried to save you some time, and you are not going to have to type all 3 research papers. I have already got those typed for you, so for the first one, it's Safe 1 and Safe 2 and Safe 3 down here, so you're going to need to download those. Whenever you do in the lab 1, those are the wearable devices, so you'll have wearable device 1, 2, and 3 you'll download. And then for your in the lab 2, that's the 2-step verification, so you'll download 2-step verification 1 and 2. You will be beginning all of these with a blank document. But I'm just going to show you here how to download. The easiest way is to click on it and then save it to your desktop. I'm going to name that one Safe 1, just the way it's named. I'll go ahead and get Safe 2. Make sure it's going to my desktop, or wherever you're saving it, make sure that you know and you find it. If you're on the school computer, do know that if you save it to your desktop, that will only be available on that desktop. You cannot go to another computer and find those on your desktop. They don't go with your account. So I've downloaded all 3 of those, and so I'm ready to get started. So let me just get my windows organized here. Oops, I don't want to drag that off there. Drag the whole thing over here. And we should have Word available for us here. Hello. In today's lecture, we're going to be looking at Chapter 2 for Word. And in this chapter, we're going to be creating a research paper with references and sources. And so if you turn in your book to page WD 59, those are the blue pages, you're going to see what our finished product is going to look like. So here we're going to be creating a research paper with references. It's going to be MLA style. The other style is called APA, but we're going to focus on MLA. If you ever need to do an APA style, you can just Google how to do that. Some of the things we need to do is we're going to make sure everything's 12-point font, Times New Roman. It will all be double spaced. We'll have 1-inch margins. We will indent the beginning of each paragraph. We're going to set up a header that numbers our pages automatically. We're going to have a heading. And we'll have some citations that are both in text and footnote. We will also be doing a works cited page. And at the end, I'm going to show you how to do the word count and some other editing features that you might find helpful. So if you are in Google Classroom, of course, you'll find all your files listed under the assignment, and you will turn those in separately. However, if you're using Blackboard, some things I want to point out. Make sure that you download this MLA checklist. This is a checklist that I have created that you're going to want to use not only for this chapter or this class, but also as you go through other classes and through your education. It's just a checklist that I've made up so that you make sure that you have the formatting correct for MLA style. It's very helpful for you. Tells you about your font, your spacing, things to double check and make sure you haven't missed. The other thing you're going to want to do is download your book. So if you haven't done that, you'll download the book. And you also have a scoring guide. You're going to want to get the scoring guide so that you can double check all your work before you turn it in. There's no point in turning it in and having mistakes whenever you could have looked at the scoring guide to make sure that you're going to get 100% on the assignment. We're going to be doing the sample problem together, which is safely using headphones and earbuds. And beginning on page 59, you're going to follow along with this video. Before you begin, you're going to download 3 files, Safe 1, 2, and 3. What I have done is I have actually typed up the research paper for you, so you don't even have to type it. We're just going to insert the text, and then we're going to do the formatting and some editing to it. You will begin with a blank document named WD2 safely and your initials. You will then be doing in the lab 1. You can find the instructions on pages 116 through 118, and here are some tips for it. And in the lab 2, pages 118 through 120, and here are some tips for it. All the files you need to download are going to be down here. You're going to begin each one of them with a blank document, and then you can insert the text that has already been typed. So I'm going to download Safe 1. And you can download these wherever you want to on your computer. I'm going to put mine on my desktop so I can get to them. Just remember that if you're putting them on the desktop at school, that it is only available on that desktop. If you're going to be using a different desktop, you're going to need to save it to My Documents. Just wherever you save it, make sure you can get to it. So I have those files all downloaded. And I'm going to open up Word at this point. So in Word, we're going to be beginning with a blank document. So I will open that up. Okay, and on our blank document, we're just going to begin here where it says we're going to use a header. So the first thing we're going to do up here above the top of where your cursor is blinking is going to be your header section. Whatever you put in your header is going to appear on every page, and it's going to be the same on every page. So we're just going to go to Insert, Header. There is a header footer section over here, so we're going to do header. And there's several different options you can choose from. We're just going to choose blank. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to need to type our name, but before we do that, we want to make sure it's right aligned. So the shortcut for right aligned is Control R. Of course, you can always go back to your Home tab and hit the right align button. You're going to type your last name, space, and then we want to put in the page number. If I type a number 1 here, it's going to number every page as number 1. So because I'm in a special area, I have a special tab. I'm going to go back to that design tab, and I'm going to go over here to page number. We're just going to do current position, plain. So now I have my last name, space, and it puts in the number 1 for me. Now, I already mentioned briefly that everything should be Times New Roman size 12, so I'm just going to highlight that, go back home, make sure I'm on Times New Roman 12. You can scroll all the way through here, or if you just hit the T, it's going to take you down to the T section. So that's a little bit quicker way to get to it, and make sure that is on a 12 point. Okay, to get out of the header, we are going to, if you go back to your design tab, you can close the header footer, or an easy way to get in and out of the header is just by double clicking back in the paper. If I needed to get back into the header, I could double click up here. So that's an easy way to do that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go down here and we're going to be putting in our heading. So this is a little bit different. This is a header. This is your heading. And for your heading, there are 4 lines for a heading. And the first line is going to be your name. Press enter. The second line is going to be your instructor's name. We're going to put Mrs. Thurlow. The third line is going to be your class. This is Microcomputer Applications. And the fourth line is going to be the date. You can simply type the date. Another way to get to the date is by going to the Insert button and choosing Date Time. And there's several different formats here. The book has us using this format for the date. I know a lot of English teachers, if you have Mrs. Forster, for example, she has always liked to use this date, or she used to, so double check and make sure you're using the correct format for the date. Some things to know: update automatically. This would mean that if you weren't going to finish your paper today and you wanted tomorrow it to be tomorrow's date, you could go ahead and hit update automatically. I don't ever recommend really doing that. I just recommend changing it manually, because you may want to open this document several months from now and see when you typed it. For example, if you had to do a portfolio and you wanted to have the date that you originally did it, not the date that you opened it last. So I would not check mark that. And you can go ahead and set this as your default format for your date if you like. We can hit OK and OK. So now it's got my date in there, and I'm going to press enter again. So some things that we need to do to make sure that we are formatting this correctly. You can see here that if I'm on the Home tab, that my font is not correct. It has gone back to the Calibri size 11, which is what the default in Word is. That is not what we should be using as MLA style. So I'm going to highlight all this. The other option I could do is pressing Control A on my keyboard. And we're going to go ahead and set up so we're formatted correctly. So instead of Calibri, I want the Times New Roman. I want it to be size 12. And I do know that my spacing is off. So over here, I can actually come to the paragraph group and hit the launcher button. That's the little button in the right-hand corner. That's going to give me lots of options. So spacing, I want to make it double space. And the other thing that Word does is it puts extra spacing after your paragraph. It's got it at an 8. I want to make sure that those are both 0. Before and over will be 0. And we are about to end this video, so you're going to have to look for the next video to open it up. I'm going to hit OK and watch for the next video. Welcome back. This is part 2 of chapter 2, and we have just set up our formatting the way we want. Now, in order to keep that exactly the way we want, there is a thing up here called styles, and there is lots of different styles that are available. we're actually going to create a style. So what we're going to do is we can just right click on the normal style here, and we are going to update it to match the selection. That way it's always going to have it Times New Roman 12 double spaced. So we're going to update that style there. I want to show you another tip with your name. Because you guys type your name a lot, we actually are going to put this into the autocorrect. So we're going to go over to File, and we're going to go down to Options. And in here, we are going to go to Proofing and then Autocorrect Options. Click on that one. And in here, you can tell it what you want to type and what you want to replace it with. So I'm just going to type my initials, which is MT. I'm not going to capitalize them because then I would have to capitalize them to make it work. And I want to replace that with my name. Now, I will tell you, if your initials spell a commonly used word, such as AT would spell at, you're going to want to probably use 3 initials for that one because you don't want every time you use the word at for it to replace it with your name. So I'm just going to type my initials, have it replaced with my name, and hit add. And then I'm going to hit OK and OK again. So now I'm going to show you how that works. If I delete my name out of here, and then I just type MT space, it's going to replace that with Michelle Thurlow. So I never have to type Michelle Thurlow again for any paper in Word that I'm doing whenever I am logged into my account. Okay, so after the, oh, for some reason it made that left align. Let me go back up here and right align that again. Okay. So I'm on the next line, and the next line is where we're going to put our title. Now remember, this one is called the header, and the header is always the top half inch of the paper, and this is called the heading. So don't get those confused. A lot of students do. This is the header, this is the heading. Okay, so we're ready to do the title. The title is going to be centered. So the shortcut is Control E on your keyboard. Of course, you can always come up here and hit the center button. And the title of our paper, just getting to it here, is going to be Safely Using Headphones and Earbuds. Okay, I'm going to press enter. I do not need to be left aligned anymore, so I don't need to be centered. I need to be left aligned, so I'm going to press Control L. Of course, you can always come up here and use that. Now we are getting ready to type, and we do want every paragraph to be indented, so there's a couple different ways to do that. We can go back to the paragraph launcher button where we was before, and whenever we're in here, we can go down here to tabs. Oh, sorry, that is not where I wanted to go. Let's try again. The launcher button indentation left, we can tell it we want that to be a ½ inch, okay? Or we can call it a first line. So that is probably what we want to do. Okay, let's make the first line, and it's going to be a ½ inch here. And we can hit OK. Now it's going to automatically indent all of our paragraphs for us. The other way we could have done that is up here in the paragraph is on our ruler. We could have drug this top half of the hourglass over on our ruler to the ½ inch mark, and that's our first line indent. If you do not have a ruler showing, all you have to do is go to View and check mark to turn on your ruler. I always recommend having your ruler on. Some other things in the paragraph area, spacing. If we didn't want to hit the launcher button and do spacing, we can use this button right here. Make sure we're at 2. We want to make sure both of those have add space. If one says remove space, you want to go ahead and click it so it's the remove space. So we have 2, and then we have all the spaces removed. So now we're actually ready to start typing our paper. So we're going to begin. I told you it was typed for you, but we're going to type the first line together. listen to sound from their computers or portable devices through headphones or earbuds. Period. Space. Okay, so we've got the first line typed. Now we can go grab that other text. Now, a lot of students will open the file and do copy and paste, which you can do. However, there is an easier way to do it that you may not know about, so I'll show you that one. We're going to go to Insert. And over here under Insert, there's a text area. We want to click on this button beside Object, and we're going to do Insert Text from File. Give it a second to open up the window. And you're going to go to wherever you saved your file. Mine, I saved to my desktop. I probably have lots of files. And we called it Safe 1. So I'm just going to click on Safe 1 and hit Insert. And it just pulled all of the text from that file into here. So I don't have to worry about copying and pasting. It saved a few steps there. Okay, I do want to double check every time we insert this that the format did come through correctly. Okay, so now that we have typed that, we are actually ready to insert our first citation. And the first citation after the word volume is where we're going to put it. So a lot of times for an in-text citation, or what they may call a parenthetical in-text citation, it goes in the paragraph. You're going to be after the last word, you're going to hit space, and then you're going to usually type parentheses and the author's last name. However, with Microsoft Word, there's an easy way to do this, and we're going to add in our references, and then at the end, it's magically going to do our Works Cited page for us. So I'm going to come up here to the top and click References. First thing is, under Styles, make sure you are on MLA. If you are not on MLA style, this isn't going to format an APA, but we are doing MLA, so make sure you do MLA. Then we're going to go to Insert Citation. We're going to add a new source. So every time we have a new source, we'll just add it up here. Once you've added the source, you can reuse that source again. So if you're majoring in a certain subject and you use the same source for more than one research paper, you will not have to type that information in again. First thing it wants to know is what kind of source this is. This is an article in a periodical. Okay, it wants to know, so we're going to change that. And then we're going to be typing in the author's name. Whenever you type the author's name, you're going to do last name, comma, first name. So his name is 2, comma, space, and then his first name is Mingzhu, and then his middle name space is Lynn. So you've got the author's name. Next, we're going to come down here to the title, and in the title field, you can hit tab to go to the field. All the little fill-in boxes that you ever find are always going to be called a field. This is the title. It was called Headphones and Earbuds. And hit tab again, and the periodical title, that's the name of the magazine, was called Technology and Trends Today. Then we have the date. This date here is going to be the date that the paper was published, and that was 2017 in August. We don't know the day because this was online. We don't have any page numbers, so the abbreviation we use is N period space, PAG period, and the medium is web. So that we've got those filled in. Okay, then we're just going to go ahead and hit OK. And it's going to put that, and we're going to finish with a period. Make sure you always put your punctuation after you put in your, oops, open up my research pane, put in your punctuation after your source. Okay, we're going to end up going to the next video. I'll see you there. Welcome, and we are now on part 3 of chapter 2 of Word, and we're working on our research paper. So we just inserted the reference for 2. You'll notice that it has a little kind of gray box around it. That is because we've inserted that reference. If you have just typed this into your paper, you are not going to get credit for it. So I can tell that you've done that. But let's say you got out of it, but then you forgot to put something in. So you can go back in here. An easy way to do it is right click and do edit source. And it's going to bring back up where we was because we forgot to we put in the date that the article was written, but we did not put in the date that we accessed this. So we want to make sure that our teacher knows when it was accessed because web pages change all the time. So we're going to do show all bibliography fields. And it does put red stars beside things that it thinks you should probably have. However, those things are not always available, so you just skip them if you don't have them. We're going to go almost down to the bottom, and it has when did we access this? We accessed it in 2017. The month was October. We do abbreviate OCT period, and the date was the 3rd. And then I can go ahead and hit OK. It says the source exists in my master list and in my current document. Do I want to update both of these changes? Yes, I do. Okay, so that one has been updated. I am now ready to enter more information. So again, we can go to the insert, object, text from file, and this time we're going to choose safe to, insert. And it's going to finish out the sentence here, properly designed headphones, and go down to technology. So we have entered in more text, and we are ready to insert a footnote. I do notice that whenever I inserted that, it got rid of my indentation here. So I'm just going to drag that top part of the hourglass over so that we have our correct indentation. Sometimes with the inserting text, it does kind of mess up your formatting. So just always double check that before you turn anything in. So we are after the word technology, and we're ready to put in a footnote. A footnote is if you wanted to add a little bit more information, but you don't necessarily want it in your paper. So maybe it's some background information that you need to add. The footnote is going to go after your punctuation. So I'm after the period is where I'm going to be. And again, I can use my references tab. And over here, you'll see that there is insert footnote. There is also an insert endnote. Endnote is more popular in APA style. We're going to be using footnotes. Footnotes will appear at the bottom of the page. Endnotes appear at the end of the paper. So we're just going to click insert footnote. When you do, it's going to put a little number 1 here, and it's going to bring you down below this little line with a number 1. And we are ready to insert or type our footnote information. So we are going to have to type a sentence down here. If you need to see what this says, I am actually on page WD 83, where it has number 1 to enter footnote text is where I'm going to be getting the words from. So Gupta and Pedro state that effective noise canceling technology reduces the interference of sounds from the surrounding environment, reducing the volume level required by headphones and earbuds. I'm not using punctuation, but I am going to make sure that I have corrected any spelling or grammar errors. If you have a red wavy underline, that means that you have probably misspelled a word. So an easy way to do it is to right click, and it's going to give you some suggestions. So I want surrounding, which is nearby. And if it was a green wavy underline, that means it's probably a grammar problem. So I have that typed. I am after earbuds. I'm not going to put the punctuation because we need to put where this information came from. So I'm going to hit space, and I'm going to go up and insert another citation. So insert citation. You'll notice that if 2 had said this, I could have just used that, but we're going to insert a new source. And this source is actually by two different authors. So the first one, so if there's two authors, you have to put them in here and you have to put a semicolon between it. So there's a new little tool called Edit. So we're going to click on Edit and we can enter in our first author, which is Gupta. First name is Elena. And middle name is Maya, M-A-I-A. Hit Add, and I can enter in my second author. My second author is Pedro. First name is Albert or Aldler. Middle name, Luis. Hit Add and OK, and it's going to format that exactly the way it needed to be. And I'm just going to finish filling in my boxes. This one is actually from a book, so I want to make sure I have book selected or I won't have the right formatting for my works cited page. The title of the book is Hearing Protection Methods. Press the tab key, the year. It was written in 2017. It was published in Orlando by the Palm Press. And this median is print because it was actually in a book. So you choose print or web. And I'm going to hit OK. That's going to add that in. Of course, I add my punctuation with my period again. But you'll notice down here, this does not look like it's Times New Roman size 12, which I said everything needed to be. So I'm going to highlight all of that information. I'm actually going to go back to my Home tab. And under Styles, I'm going to create a new style here is what I want to do. So I've got it highlighted. I can hit this little launcher button here under Styles and choose Options. Oh, they've changed this on me. Give me just a second. Oh, here it is. Right click on it. Just right click and go to Style. Sorry about that. And we are going to be creating a new style. So hit New. Okay, we're going to name it. I want you to name it your last name, Footnote. So I'm going to type Thurlow Footnote. I want it to be Times New Roman, size 12. I want to go ahead and fix my spacing. So I want it to be double spaced here. So you can see down here, it's showing me some of the after spacing. Here is the button where I'm going to choose double. And I want to make sure that I bring these together until this is saying that there is no extra spacing showing. So I can go ahead and do that. And then I want to make sure that I add it to my style gallery. It automatically updates. And new documents will have the same formatting. Okay. I can also go to Format and go to Paragraph and go ahead and add my indentation with my first line and hit OK. So we've got that set up and I hit OK and apply. It's going to format it correctly. And now I have a new style up here. So that's my Thurlow footnote. So anytime I type a footnote, I can just click on that and it's going to format it correctly. We're almost to the end of the time, so you'll need to open up the next video. I'll see you there. Welcome back to part 4 of chapter 2 for Word. So we just finished our footnote and we're ready to go back up to our paper. So we're going to come up here behind the little number 1 and we're going to press enter because we're ready to start a new paragraph. You'll notice it went ahead and indented for me. And instead of typing, of course, we get to insert the text. So insert, object, text from file. This time we're going to choose Safe 3. Hit OK, insert. And you'll notice that it took it on to page 2 for me. I just want to double check, make sure I'm indented and my font looks correct. So my footnote is still at the bottom of the first page, and I went automatically to page 2. It has a number 2 up here in my header. If yours has a number 1, that means you typed it instead of inserting the page number like we should, and you need to fix that. And this, because Word automatically took us to the next page, I didn't have to press enter, I didn't have to do anything special. That is called a soft page break because it did it automatically for me. It automatically said, oh, the first page is full, we're going to go to page 2. Here in a few minutes, we're going to learn about a hard page break, but a soft page break happens automatically for you at the end of the page. So we are after the word volume now, and we are ready to insert another source. So I'm going to hit space. I'm going to go to my references tab, insert citation. This time I want to show you a different way to do it. We're going to do add new placeholder. What placeholder is going to do is bring it up. So maybe I can just enter in the author's last name or whatever, but I don't have to necessarily have all the information in front of me, and I can go in and edit that later. So I know that this was by Chamberlain. I'm going to type Chamberlain here, and I am actually on page WD 91. So I type Chamberlain and hit OK and put in my punctuation with my period. But now I have the information, so we're going to go in and edit and add all of his information into the citation. So the easy way to do that again is just right click, and we're going to edit source. So this time, our source is coming from a website. So I'm going to choose website. You may have to scroll down to website. The author is Chamberlain, Megan, Lynn. I'm going to hit tab and go down to the name of the web page, which is going to be Understanding How Volume Levels Affect Hearing. Production company, this is a new one, and I don't see that field. So I need to make sure I click on Show All Bibliography Fields. Here I have the production company, and the production company for this one is Course Technology. When did I access it? So I don't know when it was published. They don't give me that information. So I'm going to come down, but I do know when I accessed it. That was in 2017. And it was in September, so SEPT period, and the 16th. Okay, the other thing I need to do is make sure I go to my medium, because this was on the web. I'm going to type web and hit OK. We now have Chamberlain. So I would just glance back through here, make sure everything looks okay, and I'm like, oh, down here I have a problem with this citation. I can tell because it's Gupta and Pedro, which is the author's last name, which all the others have. But I already said that Gupta and Pedro stated this, so I don't need to have the author's last name here again. So I actually just need to have the page number. So if I click on it, it gives me the arrow. I'm going to edit the citation this time because the citation is what you're reading in the paper. The source is the information that's going to go on our Works Cited page. So edit citation. And I'm going to find out what pages this was on. This was on pages 75 through 78. And I want to suppress the author's last name. Now what I do is I go ahead and suppress them all so that none of them show up and I just have the page number. So if I only want the page number, that's all I have to do here. I put in the page numbers and suppress the other 3 and hit OK. Now I have the page numbers. Okay, so let's look back through. That looks good. So we do have one more paragraph to type. So I'm just going to press enter and we can type this one because it's just a couple sentences. More and more people are using headphones and earbuds with their computers and portable devices. Using high-quality listening devices and lowering the volume can help to lessen potential hearing loss from the use of headphones and earbuds. And that paragraph was on page 94 if you need to look at that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create our works cited page. I said a minute ago that we had a soft page break, which happened automatically, and now we're going to do a hard page break, which we manually have to do. So to do the hard page break, there's a couple different ways. One way is to go to Insert, Page Break, but the easiest way is to press Control Enter. That will take me to page 3. And if you look at the page, oops, I just inserted another one. Did not mean to do that, so I'm going to delete until that page goes away. Okay. If you go up here and hover over it, it will tell you the shortcut is actually Control Return. So return was a word used on typewriters. Now it's enter. So we're on the last page. We're ready to do our works cited page. The works cited page needs to be in alphabetical order, and it needs to have all of the references and put in there in the correct format. So this is going to be super easy. We took a little bit of time before setting them up. So now we're ready to insert them. First thing we do have to do though is have our title. So this is going to be centered. So you can actually just press Control E to center. We're going to type works cited. I hope you have more than one work, so you add an S after it. Press enter. I'm going to go back to the left align with Control L. Then this is the easy thing to do. Come up here to insert, or sorry, references. We're going to go to bibliography. It's easy, but I want to make sure you don't make a mistake. A lot of students want to pick on one of these pretty examples. This does say works cited. However, that's not the one we want. We want to go all the way down here to insert bibliography. Okay. Now you actually have all of your works cited references in here. They're in alphabetical order. They have the commas and the italics and the spacing exactly as they need. Just double check, make sure it is Times New Roman, size 12, double spaced. And we should have a hanging indent. By putting this in here like this, we should have a hanging indent. Okay, it is kind of gray if I click on it, and it shouldn't let me type in it. So if I needed to edit something, I actually need to right click and do edit field. And it's actually going to bring it up so that I can do some editing there. If I needed to fix one of my sources, I actually need to come up here to my manage sources, and I could click on whichever one I needed to fix and hit edit and fix it. I would then hit OK and close it, and then I should come back here and update the field. Okay, so if you needed to edit any of those, that's the way to do that. Okay, next we're going to come back to the next video, and I'm going to show you some editing features that may be helpful to you. Okay, welcome back. This is your final video for Chapter 2 of Word. We have just finished our research paper. We have just put in our works cited page that happened automatically for us. So we need to make sure we save this. So I'm going to go to File. I'm being a little laggy. And I'm going to hit Save. Because I've never saved this before, I started as a blank document. I can hit Save or Save As. It doesn't matter. It's going to open up the same file for me. Find where it is you want to save yours. Okay, I'm just going to save mine to my desktop so I can easily find it. This one I'm going to name WB2 for Word Chapter 2. And the name of our paper, I'm going to name it Safely Using Headphones. And I'm going to add my initials. Okay, hit save. And we are ready to do some editing to it. First of all, I want to make sure everything looks correct. I could use that little checklist for MLA style, make sure everything looks good. I'm 12-point font, Times New Roman, looks like everything's double spaced. There's no extra spacing. My header at the top has page 1 and page 2. My footnote is formatted correctly. My header was formatted correctly. That's a lot of people forget to change that to Times New Roman 12. My works cited page is on its own page, and that looks good. So some things that we're going to do. we want to check how many words we have, because sometimes the instructor is going to tell you I need a certain word count for your paper. So an easy way to do that is you come down here. I know I have 344 words, but if I click on that, it's going to actually open it up. Now, if your words vary a little bit, that's okay. Don't worry about it. So, but I want you to be able to see this, and then I'm going to show you how to do a screenshot. There's a couple different ways to do a screenshot. One, depending on your computer, you may have a print screen button on your keyboard, or you may have to do function print screen on a laptop. So we're just going to do a print screen. I just click on that, close my word count, and I'm going to come in here and paste it. And ta-da! Okay, so you can tell that I've got two monitors going, and so that's why it pasted the whole thing, which is fine. So that's an easy way to screenshot your word count, which I want you guys to put your word count on there. Another way to do it is by using your snipping tool. So I have my snipping tool locked down here so I can always access it. If not, you need to go to your start button and you should find your snipping tool there. Okay, so I'm going to click on my snipping tool. Oh, before I do that, I actually need to open my word count back up again because I want to be able to screenshot this. So I open up my word count. I'm going to use my snipping tool, which is here, and do new. I can actually just draw around it like this. And there's a couple different things you can do with this different than just the print screen. So here I could actually use a highlighter, and I want you guys to highlight your number of words you have. And I can use a pen. So the pen, you can make it red, blue, black, customize it. I'm going to go with a red pen. And I want you to put your name on it. So it may not look pretty. So that's some things you can do different with the snipping tool. Okay, I'm just going to, at this point, you could save the snip, which is going to save it as a picture that you could insert somewhere. We're just going to copy it. I'm going to go ahead and go close. Oh, hold on. Copy that. I'm going to minimize my snipping tool, come back here to my paper, close my word count, and paste it in. And then there's a couple different ways. So whenever you do your homework assignment, after this video, you're not going to need to do both. You can pick whichever way you want to do it. So there's a couple different options for you. And something else that you may need to do is sometimes you want to check and see if there's a word that you've used too much. So we can actually open up our navigation pane. So we can get to that in a few different ways. So the easiest way, you can go to review, but the easiest way is we want to actually find a word. So I'm going to press Control F, and it's going to bring up my navigation pane. In my navigation pane, the word I want to find is people. And look here, I have used the word people 4 times. Well, sometimes in a research paper, you don't want to use the same word several different times. So maybe I want to change some of these. So on the first one, I could just right click on it and go to synonyms and go, okay, well, instead of people, maybe I want to use individuals. Okay, we fixed that one. If I come back over here to people, I can search again, and maybe I want to change this people. So I go here and I could actually, I could go to synonyms, and then I can actually open up the thesaurus. So maybe I want to see a lot of words, enough that other people nearby cannot hear. I don't know. I already used individuals, so I'm not sure if there's a word that would make more sense. So I'm just going to pick one, and we could put in that word into our paper too. So I come up here and hit the arrow. It will bring me back. Okay, so you can put in a word like that. Another thing I can do is I can actually replace. So we did Control F for find, Control R. Nope, Control R is right aligned. So under my Control F, we can find it. We can then replace. So I find what? People, and I want to replace it with the word, I don't know, society. I find the next one. There it is. Okay. Our experts suggest society should only listen. So I just hit replace. It would then take me to the next one, which is fine. We'll go ahead and leave that people. So I've replaced a couple of the words of people, so they are not there anymore. So you can do Control F to find, Control R will find and replace. Something else I want to show you, so we can, whoa, I don't know what happened to my formatting there. Okay, I hope your formatting didn't get off while you were playing around like mine did. So something else we can do is we can actually move sentences around. So you can like highlight a word and you can right click and copy it, or you can right click and cut it, and then you can take it to a different spot and you can actually paste it. Okay, I'm going to paste it back where I got it from. But another way to do it is to take an entire sentence. So if I wanted to select an entire sentence, I could actually press Control, click to highlight my sentence. I could copy and paste, or I could simply drag it to a new location. And I'm not really going to move it, but I wanted you to know that you can click and drag like that. Okay, so that is the end of that assignment. Now you're going to have 2 more assignments that you're going to do on your own. If you have any questions, be sure that you let me know.